Russia $1.87 trillion. Despite forecasts stating that Russia's working population will decline by a whopping 31%, Russia's economy is predicted to leapfrog over Australia and Argentina by 2050. It's set to rise 2 spots to make the top 15. Current challenges facing the Russian economy include sanctions put in place by the international community as a response to the annexation of Crimea, and continued military threat in Ukraine. But according to studies, despite such problems, Russian economy will grow rapidly and exceed that of Australia and Argentina. Spain $1.95 trillion.
We all have heard the economic breakdown in Spain that saw the house prices rise to 44% on 2004 and 2008. 1/3 of the housing market was totally wiped out by this housing bubble, causing panic. But the 3% average increase in per capita, which is expected on 20s, 30s and 40s, will catapult Spain to becoming the richest country by the year 2050. Even though the current situation in Spain, which has seen the reduction of working population to 11%, it's not all bad, however, as Spain will enjoy a 3% average increase of per capita GDP during the 20s, 30s and 40s, well above the average for the developed world as a whole. South Korea, $2.06 trillion. Similar to Spain, South Korea will lose 2 ranks on the world rich list due to the rapid growth of Turkey and Mexico. South Korea has experienced a reduction in fertility over the past 20 years, which will result in a shrinking workforce. The South Korean government has adopted a mechanism that will boost the economic growth through supporting and giving incentives to the family-owned businesses, chaebol. This move is intended to create a stimulant that will foresee South Korea to make it on the top 15 richest countries in the world by year 2050. Turkey, $2.15 trillion.
Turkey will enjoy the biggest leap of all the countries on this list, rising 6 spots to become one of the 15 richest nations in 2050. Unlike South Korea, Turkey has a high fertility rate. This will be a winning factor to the list of richest countries by the year 2050, as it shall create a firm economic foundation. The economic growth of Turkey will surpass that of Netherlands, South Korea, Russia, Spain, Australia and Argentina. Foreign direct investment has risen for the past 5 years by $13 billion. The country has thrived through global economic turmoil as its income per capita has been tripling for the past 10 years.
Italy, $2.19 trillion.
Italy is another Eurozone country that will experience difficulty due to changing demographics, with a reduction in their working population predicted to reach 23%. As a result of this and other problems with their economic infrastructure, Italy is projected to fall from 7th to 11th richest country in the world by 2050 since the inception of the European Union. Italy's economy has only grown 4% in 16 years. This is the same growth that Greece has experienced, despite the latter's very rocky finances. Projections for 2015 are that Italy will experience the second slowest growth in the EU, behind only Cyprus, expanding its GDP by 0.6%.
Canada $2.29 trillion. Canada is the only country on this list projected to stay put, currently ranked as the 10th richest country in the world and projected to remain 10th in 2050. Despite this lack of change, Canadians are expected to rise 3 spots in per capita income, rising from 15th to 12th in 2050. This hasn't saved Canada against the recent dive in oil prices. The loonie has lost ground against the American dollar at a rapid rate because of Canada's investment in tar sands oil production, which is only profitable when oil prices are high.
France $2.75 trillion. The stagnant economic growth, which has averaged 0.3% per year since 2008, will make France lag behind and see it fall 3 points down, making it on 9th position if in the next few years the income per capita will continue to be stagnant. The past few years have been difficult for the French economy, with stagnant growth that's averaged 0.3% per year since 2008, especially compared to Britain's economy, which is slated to rise by 3.2% in 2015.
Mexico $2.81 trillion. Currently the 13th richest country in the world, Mexico is poised to make a huge leap into the top 10, projected to rise 5 spots to become the 8th richest country in 2050, rising above France, Canada, Spain, South Korea and Italy. President Nieto has spearheaded policy changes that deal with 11 structural concerns in the 20 months after he achieved presidency. Changes in education, energy, telecommunications, labor, competition and the financial sector are expected to improve prosperity and productivity in the near future.
Brazil, $2.96 trillion. Ever since the period between 1986 and 1994, in which Brazil experienced annual inflation in excess of 500%, the country has rebounded to continue operating as one of the biggest economies in the world. Brazil experienced economic meltdown in the years 1986 and 1994. But afterwards it came back strong even though the income per capita has been decreasing. The continued economic growth will see Brazil on 7th position. United Kingdom, $3.58 trillion.
By 2015, the United Kingdom is projected to narrow the difference by half between itself and the German economy, the biggest in Europe. Currently, Germany is $346 billion ahead of the British, while in 2050 the gap between the two will be $138 billion. Having been a leader of industrialization, Britain can be said to be the country that stimulated industrialization which we now enjoy in 21st century. But economic upgrade in India will make Britain drop to a point together with Germany.
Germany $3.71 trillion.
Germany is projected to be the largest economy in Europe in 2050, holding off the United Kingdom to remain as one of the top 5 richest countries on the planet, although India is expected to overtake the Germans in the meantime. Germany will experience the greatest reduction in its working population of all the EU, suffering a decline of 29%. Despite this reduction, solid funding and a strong economic infrastructure will ensure the country's economy remains stable. Japan, $6.43 trillion.
With a rapidly aging population, Japan is looking to overcome the worst demographic problems out of all the richest countries, with an incredible projected decline in working population of 37%. This is one of the countries that has been hit by less working population, which stands at a 37% mark. It experiences a big problem when it comes to demographic patterns, but despite all this, Japan will still stand out economically to be the 4th richest country by the year 2050.
India, $8.17 trillion. India is an example of the economic benefits of a growing population, ranking in the top 5 in terms of countries that will experience a surge in working population. As of 2050, India projects to be the 3rd richest country on Earth and the most populous, overtaking China to become the first country with 1.5 billion residents. India, for so many years, has been taking advantage of the use of technology, and the country's working population is overwhelming. It is projected to be on the top 5 position mostly because of its population and the fact they adopt and adapt well to foreign economic policies.
United States $22.27 trillion.
The country standout has been the 1st richest country in the world up until now, but by the year 2050, things will be different and it will go down to 2nd place because of its slow economic growth when it comes to income per capita. As for the moment, the country's economy is twice as much as that of Japan. China, $25.33 trillion. It's no secret that China is a country whose development has never stopped. The country's massive economic breakthroughs are key factors making China on the top spot. In 2049, it is expected that China would have absorbed Hong Kong and Macau, making sure that its economic growth would be significantly improved in addition to the Chinese boom in the past decades.